That was incredible. Is it good for you?
I've had better.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is 24Oscarr. As you saw the latest trailer for the upcoming Resident Evil 9, it got the whole fanbase as well as new gamers excited and looking forward to the new game in a beloved, memorable franchise that helped motivate and inspire horror games to this day. And just like Devil May Cry, Resident Evil is one of my favorite game series, and it's something I don't talk about much on this channel until now. So I thought we would go back to the conversation of many saying the perfect remake of all time is Resident Evil 4 in 2023, and how I strongly disagree. I played the game when it released, and I never got around to sharing my actual thoughts on the game until now. So overall, I say it's like a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 max. Whereas I say the OG Resident Evil 4 is like a 9.5 out of 10. And a lot of people are just like, oh, that's nostalgia talk. No. Resident Evil 4 OG plays a lot better than this game. Just because it does not control how typical games control in the modern era does not mean that it does not play better. So get used to the controls, play the game, look at how consistent it is with the enemy behavior, how consistent it is with the core mechanics, and compare that to this game, where it's just constant inconsistencies everywhere. And there's really no argument other than you just being blinded by the fact that this is a new shiny thing, which tends to happen with these new games. This is the reason why people love The Last of Us when it released. They say, oh my god, The Last of Us is the greatest game ever. And then a few years later they say, oh yeah, The Last of Us, it was kinda boring. I only played it through it once, but it's my favorite game ever. But I only played it through it once. Yeah, it's genius. And I don't know if it's a hot take, but I think The Last of Us is the reason why these remakes are so mediocre in the terms of core combat mechanics. They took a little too much inspiration from the movement from The Last of Us because it has this muddled, slow movement that you see now in the RE remakes and other modern games. But honestly, I would say that The Last of Us 2 actually has better core movement than RE4 Remake, which is kind of blasphemous for me to say on this channel, I guess with all you guys following me, but from what I remember anyways, it was more consistent with the movement. Now don't get me wrong, there's a lot of ideas in this game I really like, especially the stuff involving the knife. I love the parry. I love all the extra stuff that you can do with the knife, but overall, the negatives don't outweigh the positives in terms of this remake. Still a good game for what it is, but that's how I feel about all these Resident Evil remakes from 2 to 4. All these remakes are lacking, and a lot of what made the OG games so good. And that's not even getting into the characterizations of the heroes and villains, because the characterizations in these remakes are really off-putting, especially Ada's. It's particularly bad, like her voice actress is terrible. Oh, it's horrible, horrible voice acting. But yeah, this is a good game, but not as great as the OG game. And the remake had potential to be one of the greatest games ever made, period. Especially with all these ideas that they were implementing with the knife and the parries and stuff. But geez, I just don't understand this whole RNG, let's add a little luck element into the aiming and shooting. It's ridiculous. It really makes for a very harrowing experience if you're playing this. So with the gunplay in this game, I'll be shooting directly at the enemy, and the bullets just start spraying all over the place. It's so stupid. Especially the Red 9 in this game is a far cry from what it is in the OG RE4. The old school Red 9 was so freaking good. It felt so good to shoot, but in this game, all the guns feel like squirt guns. You could have made the guns feel more powerful. It's like every freaking gun in this game feels so weak. It's almost to the point where it feels like Operation Raccoon City. I don't know if you guys play that game, but man, in that game the enemies just tank. Every freaking bullet that you shoot at them, even the guns with the highest stats, the enemies in that game just tank everything. I think the anti-material rifle was like the strongest gun in that game in regards to damage, like DPS or whatever. Using that gun, it takes like 4 headshots to kill a single enemy. It's ridiculous. I don't want to compare it to Operation Raccoon City. I'm not that crazy, but it does remind me a little bit like that in RE4 Remake. So when making this video, I was looking if other people had problems with the RE4 Remake. And they do, but for the wrong reasons. The main reason why people are leveling at this game are the yellow paint indicators that are slathered all over certain areas of the environments, as well as the breakable item boxes. People believe that it's too handholdy or whatever, and the trope needs to die out, because it treats gamers like they're stupid. And I do somewhat agree with this critique, but at the same time, I think the critique itself paradoxically exposes the fact that most gamers are indeed very stupid. Because if the navigation indicators are the biggest issue that you have with this game, then you need to go to the back of the short bus. If the yellow paint was the biggest issue with this game, then where are all the complaints for the other AAA games that do have yellow paint? You do know the developers put them in for the short attention span gamers who freak out that they don't understand where they are in the map. Because, you know, they always rely on the GTA coordinates in the bottom corner of the screen, or some giant fucking arrow telling you where to go. It's just like blocking the whole screen. Yes, the yellow paint should be a setting you can toggle for the brain dead players who screech autistically that there's no arrow dots in the middle of the environment, and they just tell you where to go in this little narrow hallway type game. Because they need hand-holding a lot, just so they don't get lost every 10 seconds in a game. Yeah, let's not talk about how sluggish and downright broken the movement is, the melee and shooting mechanics are, and how extremely hit or miss the level boss and puzzle designs are. I'd say the yellow paint is to help the people with the average IQs navigate. It's not a big deal. But what we should be talking about is how the character movement momentum will force player inputs to take less priority over delayed animation. This can be seen constantly when you quickly trying to change directions while running, or attempting to switch weapons while aiming, or how about when enemies can literally loop you infinitely and they can continuously run into your player character, causing you to stagger with no control over the character, which can lead to consistent damage, or the fact that the bosses are damage sponges with some of the worst phantom hitboxes I've ever seen in my life. And that's not even getting into the extended reach of grabs. How grabs will instantly damage you even if you break free from them instantly that you're touched, or how the bullet trajectory is calculated with a bit of RNG to help with the moralism. And of course how the story in these remakes is just a jumbled mess, with very little deep character motives and lore that made the OG franchise so incredible. But yeah, let's just talk about the yellow paints on the floor and boxes, cause that's what's so important here, gamers. You guys just prove consistently that you are morons, and you should not be critiquing video games, cause holy shit, if that's the only problem in this game, I would be the happiest boy on earth, because this would be an amazing game otherwise. The same people trying to have hot takes on Resident Evil, like the ones that say RE4 is the downfall of the franchise because it relies more on action. RE4 did not start the action, it was actually RE3. It has dodging mechanics and enemies that shoot rockets at you. Like, it's clearly there, but no, you guys want to blame RE4. It's a shame, as they're the same people who would only play this game and nothing else in the franchise. And of course for the new players who want to start on the franchise, of course these newbies are saying, oh, RE4 is the only game you can play and nothing else matters. So to those guys, I want to talk about Revelations 2. And unfortunately, a game a lot of the Resident Evil fans did not get to play through. Likely because of the episodic nature of it, and probably because people thought it was low budget or something. But Revelations 2 is actually one of the best Resident Evil games. In terms of core combat, it has some of the best aiming in the series, some of the best weapon selections, some of the best enemies to deal with. There's really cool and unique enemies in that game. And yeah, it's just fun, especially the raid mode. And honestly, I would think people play a lot better had they just translated that specific game mechanics to this engine in particular. I think RE4 Remake would feel a lot better if it felt like Revelations 2. Revelations 2 with a nice RE engine coat of paint would be perfect. So yeah, RE4, this game is nowhere as good as people say it is. It is a fun game for what it is, especially if you're playing it casually. I can understand why people enjoy this game, but if you're playing it on a high level, it is not a very good game, especially compared to the Resident Evil 4 OG. It's a good game on its own, but as a remake of Resident Evil 4, it's not that great. But that's it for this little rant. Do you guys agree or disagree? Am I being too nitpicky? Let me know in the comments. And are you excited for the new Resident Evil 9? If you think it'll have the same mechanics as the remakes, or go for something different, or even go for a Revelations 2 style. My name is 24Oscarr, and I hope you have a good day.